folks, and thanks for joining us for this month's vlog. Things are growing and changing so fast this month. I can barely keep up with the filming, and probably by the time I've edited and published this video, everything will be looking different again. The daylight hours are up, the temperatures are coming up. Even though we haven't had great sunshine, the plants seem to know what time of year it is, and the growth is absolutely brilliant at this time of year. I hope you guys are getting your gardens organised and everything going as well, or just learning and creating your dreams for the future. I hope you enjoy seeing what we have been up to this month, and make sure you let us know in the comments down below what you have been doing too. Happy spring equinox, folks. As March started, we continued to give our food forest lots of focus, and where we had opened up some space, I begun transplanting runaway strawberry runners from other areas of our land and moving them into the food forest to create our favourite edible ground cover. Come on, back. Come on, away. It's the 7th of March today, and I have now done my second seed sowing of the season. It's my first seed sowing for this month, and I will be doing another main sowing yet. But I've done an early March sowing just pretty much to pick up on anything that hadn't germinated very well in February, and also to get my tomatoes going. I like to start the tomatoes quite early in March, just in case anything goes wrong with that sowing. It still means I've got a window to do a second sowing if need be. Now, there are a few seeds which really benefit from having fresh seed, and onion is definitely one of them. I had one new packet of seed of onion, and the germination on that has been much better. Still not as consistent as I would like for these multi-sown plugs, but the other tray here, this was red onions, and this was seed left over from last year, and the germination has been very poor. But the main thing I wanted to show you today, which is a real standout, is about the peas which I have been sowing. And I've got 3 trays of peas here. This first tray is podding peas, and this is all saved seed from last year, and other than one little patch in the middle which is actually still popping up new shoots coming through, the germination has been pretty consistent. And then I've got this tray here which is snap peas, and half of the tray is from saved seed from last year, and the other half is from bought seed that was actually new seed for this year. And as you can see, the saved seed is much more consistent, and the germination of the bought seed is actually really poor. And they've all been sown at exactly the same time, in exactly the same conditions. So that speaks volumes. And then if we move on to this tray here, this is purple snap peas, and this is completely saved seed again. One half of the tray is actually seed that I still had from 2022, and then this half of the tray is seed from just saved from last year. And as you can see, all of it is growing beautifully and strong, and it has the most beautiful purple coloured flowers when it comes through, so I cannot wait to get those going some more. It was a mild winter overall, and with light levels now increasing, everything has been leaping into growth, including the grass. I like to give the food forest an early cut and then leave it for a while, so the dandelions can flower really well. So on the 7th of March, I trimmed and mowed the paths back into shape a little bit in the food forest and cut the grass around all of our growing areas and green. It was so thick and long. Our mower has a mulch setting and a clever double-bladed setup, so it cuts everything up nice and finely. It's perfect for chop and drop mowing. I have been trimming and mowing on and off all day, and I have really enjoyed it. It feels so good to be getting on top of some of the spring jobs and getting everything tidied up. It feels so nice and fresh. It has been a beautiful day today and I have really enjoyed it. It's the 9th of March today, and I wanted to share an update on how our extra early new potatoes are coming along in the polytunnel. And as you can see, we have got some really good growth on this variety here, and this is the Swifts, and the chits were further ahead and they have definitely sprouted into life a lot quicker than any of the other varieties. The other ones are just starting to show signs of movement and some sprouts coming through, but the Swifts are definitely way ahead. We built our new raised bed garden this month, which you can see and hear more about in this video here. And I gave our net house a much needed weed and tidy up. And Dan is just down here patching up some holes in the net house where we've had a few things chew through the net over the years. We've kept some of the spare fabric and he's just wiring it over the top to cover up the holes so that the butterflies can't get in. So this is our net house where we grow most of our brassicas, mainly different varieties of kale and purple sprouting broccoli and Brussels sprouts, and a few perennial kales and 9-star broccoli as well. And we grow it in this net house to protect from cabbage white butterflies, which are everywhere from about the middle of June, and they lay eggs on your brassicas which hatch into caterpillars and munch all of the leaves. So we came up with this idea to ensure that we always get a good harvest of greens, and this net house provides us with greens literally all year round. And this area hasn't had a lot of attention at all, probably since about this time last year when we redid this area and took the black plastic out, which you can see in this video here how it transformed it. So I have just been through over the last couple of days and had a really good weed in here because there was a couple of nasty weeds that had really taken hold that I'd left for far too long. So I've had a good clear up, and now I've just put a thin layer of well rotted wood chip back on top of the beds to make sure the soil is well covered, and also that will break down and feed the soil below. So it is a bit of a monoculture in here, which isn't ideal, but we do make sure we have plenty of diversity elsewhere on our land, and it does ensure then that we get a really good harvest of greens also. We did add some strawberry plants in here last year as well, a late variety of strawberry, which worked really well because it meant that this net house also gave us bird protection, which is the other thing that also really eats our outdoor brassicas. The pigeons love to strip the leaves as well. And we were actually harvesting strawberries in here in September, and I think even into October last year. So that worked really well. And I've just also gone through with this tidy up and dug out all of the runners, and I've been replanting those into areas of our food forest, which we are also redoing right now. And just to finish this area, I will be putting some more fresher wood chips down through the middle on the path just as soon as we've got some more in, and otherwise it is ready for this season's new plantings. We do plant some of our brassicas outside in the beds, mainly things like kohlrabi that we plant early in the season, and they're fine because we've harvested those before the caterpillars come. But the bulk of our leafy greens, other than a few perennial kales that we have in the food forest as well, all grow on in here. I'm going to make a start on the strawberry bed now and give it a quick tidy up and a wood chip feed. And this is a job I've been meaning to get to for quite a few weeks now. In fact, ideally would have the whole of this area prepped and ready to go by now, but we have literally only just made a start on it now, and you can probably see Dan frantically weeding in the background there. So as always, we've got lots of work to do to get this area ready for planting, but we nearly always pull it off just at the last minute, so I'm sure this year will be no different. On the 16th of March, Dan earthed up our new potatoes for the first time. And I started planting some seeds directly in the polytunnel. Peas to grow on just for shoots. Carrots to have as baby carrots in salad. And radishes from plugs that I'd sown a few weeks earlier. Later that day, I got a lovely wheelbarrow full of perennial edibles added to the food forest. Some I had bought, and I also had chives and echinacea that I had divided from other areas on our land. Whilst I was busy breaking my favourite little spade, Dan was strengthening up all of our bean poles ready for this year's plantings. The salad has started growing so fast over the last week or so that we literally cannot keep up with it anymore. We are eating so much beautiful fresh salad, and whenever I see anybody, they get a bag of salad too. We're going to be harvesting spring onions from this bed really soon, and all of the herbs have absolutely burst into life. We've got parsley, chervil, coriander. We like to leave some of the brassicas to flower as well, as they make a lovely addition to salads at this time of year, and the flowers give you a lovely little sweet crispy flavour. It's just amazing how quickly everything is growing, and it has only been about 10 days since I last filmed the potatoes in here, but the growth is absolutely crazy. Again, they have just leapt into life literally in the last week. And yet another pretty cool upgrade has been happening in our shed, and Dan has been getting all of his tools organised and laid out so everything is easy to put your hands on, which is going to make life so much better. And Dan has also just put up all of these hooks on the roof so that we can hang crops to dry if we have another wet season, so that hopefully our garlic won't be affected like it was last year, and our onions and also our corn can all be hung here to dry if the weather isn't suitable for outside. My next job was to get the last top up of soil into our new Vigiga raised beds. And then on the 20th of March, perfectly timed for the spring equinox, I sowed my first seeds and plug plants outside. I am super happy to have gotten my first seeds sown into our new Vigiga garden beds today. In this bed I've sown 2 different types of carrots, and I'm using a plank to keep the soil really nice and moist, because that's what carrots like to germinate, and they can sometimes be a little bit fiddly if it's extra dry. And then I've also sown a row of spring onions alongside, because they make great companion plants as well. And this afternoon I'm also going to be sowing more carrots outside in our normal beds, because I'm going to be running some trials this year to see if these raised beds help to give protection against the carrot rust fly. And I've also started planting this second raised bed here, and this is going to be another trial bed for us this year. And the aim for this bed is to see how much food we can grow in one space over the course of the season, because this is quite a realistic size for what some people could have in their gardens, and we appreciate that not everybody has got as much space as we are blessed with here to grow food. So we're going to be sharing more about how much we can get out of this space, and also the crops that we think are the most valuable ones to grow. And today I've put more carrots in this bed, 2 different types again. I've put some spring onion starts in. I've got 2 rows of lettuce here, some herbs. We've got dill and coriander, and then we've got a few plugs of multi-sown beetroot. And we are really going to try and maximise this bed and succession sow as much as possible in here this year, and we're going to keep track of everything that comes out. So stay tuned to hear more about that. I hope you've enjoyed this month's vlog. If you have, we would massively appreciate if you could click the thumbs up button just below the video. This really helps us out and helps us to grow our channel and get our videos seen by more beautiful people just like you. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will catch you here again soon. Peace and plants.